sad day indeed. So I'm just going to give you guys some context before we go ahead and dive into the footage itself. So basically I was out just shooting a video, my 10 best tips and tricks for the Mini 5 Pro. And the last thing I was going to do was take a thumbnail for that video. So I wasn't even going to fly the drone. I was just going to hover it right above the ground and then take a photo of it and use that as a thumbnail. And that is when the drone went crazy. Now, I've also been in contact with DJI Support about this situation, and I'll get to that as well at the end of this video, so stay tuned. Alright, so let's start with the footage right before I take off. And let's watch it once and then we'll try to analyze what actually happened here. So as soon as I lift off here, the drone launches straight up into the air. Like, this is not me controlling it at all. I have actually no control over the drone right now. The only thing I had a little bit control over, if I remember correctly, was that I could kind of like turn it a little bit to the left and to the right. And there's also like some resistance to my inputs here. Then I tried to hit return to home, but you know, at this point I just realized that, yeah, this drone has made up its mind and it is not going to return to the home point. It is going to crash straight into the water here. Alright, that was the crash, but let's rewind it and see what's actually going on here. So first things first, I got all the checks, you know, all the checks that the drone do before takeoff. You know, it says up here, takeoff permitted, so everything was fine. There wasn't anything wrong or any sort of warning before I took off. This is exactly how it is every time I take off. So, but one thing I did notice looking back at this, if you look at the footage right when I take off, it shakes way more than I think it should from taking off. And the first thing you notice here is that the satellite positioning is all of a sudden gone. And then you can see the gimbal just starts moving up and down rapidly. I also got a warning that there was high wind speed detected. And I can assure you guys, there was literally no wind here at all at this point. I did try to put it into sports mode as well, because I thought maybe in sports mode I could force it a bit more. Maybe it would respond stronger, but that didn't happen either. So the next thing that just popped up logically in my mind was that try and hit the return to home button. And the drone kind of drifted more towards the home point when I did this. But as again, you can see the error message at the top. This is another one where it says motor overloaded, that I need to check the propellers if they're blocked or have frozen. So I think I got all the error messages there is. But you know, at this point I just realized it's just gonna smash into the water, and that's why I canceled the return to home last second to see if I could try and gain some altitude again. But yeah, the drone had made up its mind, it wanted to die. And you know, the next thing I did was going into a feature DJI has where you can find your drone, so it shows up on the GPS. You know, I did try and swim out there and try to locate it, but I actually couldn't find it. The water was too dark, there's too much grass over there. The water was also extremely cold. I tried searching for it, but yeah, I couldn't recover it. You know, later that day I went through the footage multiple times. I tried to make sense of it all. Why did it happen? What could have happened? You know, I went through, no, there was no wind. And there was also no rain, but if you look at the start of this footage, it actually looks like it's raining. When you look at the water here, it kind of seems like it's raining, but this is basically just mostly an illusion. The water here is completely still. And because it's completely still, like even a small little raindrop shows up very clearly here. The last thing I actually did before I took off was stick my hands out to the side, you know, the way you do when you check for if it's raining or not. And I literally couldn't feel any raindrop. And I also did a swipe on top of the drone if it was wet or if there was any kind of moisture on top as well. I know that it's not because of rain or anything like that either. I don't really think there's anything I could have done. I also think that I did nothing wrong in this scenario. You know, I'm also very happy that I have a screen recording from this. That was completely random that I started a screen recording, and of course I have contacted DJI Support about this, and they did reach back to me. They did say to me that if it wasn't a user error, which I don't think it is, they will replace the drone, even though I don't have care refresh on this drone. At the same time, they also said that if it was a user error, they would still give me a discount for a new drone. And they don't really have to do that, so that's super nice. You know, I've said this in my other videos as well. I think DJI customer support is one of the better ones I've experienced. They were always so kind and professional towards me. Now, right before I was about to post this video, they did reach back to me again with a final verdict. And as expected, they said that this was not a user error and they are going to send me a brand new drone for free, which I'm of course relieved about, but I kind of knew that this wasn't my mistake, so the drone is already on its way. So I'm happy about that. Now, I also want to mention that I don't think this is something that you should be worried about, whether if you're interested in getting a Mini 5 Pro. This is a completely rare scenario, and I'm not trying to throw DJI under the bus with this video or anything like that, because I know that this is a very rare thing. I have flown DJI drones for years, and this has never happened to me before. Alright, if you want more drone content, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button before you head off. That would also be highly appreciated. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next drone crash. No, drone video. Fly safe.